To make a little fluid handling tutorial because I know it's a part of Factorio that a lot of people struggle with. And I just wanted to lay out some of the simple things that you can do to help make your life a bit easier when dealing with fluids in this game. So number one tip, above ground pipes are okay, but underground pipes are where it's really at in this game. The problem is with above ground pipes is that you can't run them in parallel because they just keep connecting up like this, right? And that's usually not productive for you. But underground pipes you can run in parallel, as many different sets of them as you want. So if you need to transport different types of liquids all to the same location, or a lot of one liquid in parallel all to one location, using this kind of construction lets you do that very neatly and tidily, and it's very quick to lay down because, as you just saw me doing there, you can just click and drag and run in a direction and lay down a big long stretch of underground pipe. So for that reason, it's a pretty good idea to start automating the construction of underground pipe very early on in your factory. All you need is iron, after all, and you really can't have enough of this stuff. So that's the first little trick. The second trick that really helps you get going with fluid processing in this game is the simple layout that you can use to help you set lots of things in parallel when you're processing. This works for oil refineries and it works for chemical processing plants. We'll use the slightly more complicated example just because it actually illustrates it better, but it's a very simple thing. And basically what it is you do 1, 2, whoops, messed it up, 1, 2, 3, and then you do the same here, 1, 2. So what these little pipes from the outputs and inputs let you do is then use underground pipes in this manner. And this might all seem a bit silly, but it's actually incredibly helpful because now if I want to put another one next to it because I need more capacity, which is always what you want to do in Factorios, add capacity, it's super easy for me to add another one on because I just repeat that same pattern and I can add as many of these consecutively as I want. I'll get power going over here just so I can demonstrate this a bit more. You can easily add as many of these in a row as you want to a point and not have to worry about snaking lots of pipes around the place to connect everything up. So I'll just show you here, I've got some oil over here from a little oil patch nearby. And you can see I'm running that using underground pipes just like I was talking about before because that's, you know, the quickest way, the tidiest way to get stuff around. Also, you know, it's super easy to tap into that, right? If I want to take some of this water but have it still go to somewhere else, I can do this. I can also cross underground pipes with other pipes. That's pretty handy sometimes. And you can build above ground pipes right next to underground pipes and these fluids aren't going to mix. So here I've just hooked up both of these oil refineries and I can keep plonking down as many of them as I want in a row and it's still going to work. And in fact, I can do it with blueprints. You won't obviously have this when you're just starting out with a new factory, but I can just go boom, boom, stamp down 2 more, connect up the power. And they're going to go. So this is a simple way to lay out your refineries that's easily expandable. And that's really what's cool about it. And you can do the same thing for chemical plants. I mean, not all of these require complex inputs, but something like oil cracking, you need 2 inputs and 1 output, so you do the same thing, put little stalks on it, and then use underground pipes so that you can connect multiple refineries doing the same work in parallel with each other with a minimum fuss and with simple piping. One more trick that I want to show, which is a little bit more advanced, but is very, very helpful. So one thing anyone will know if they've played Factorio and they've got to the point where they're doing oil processing is that you don't consume the 3 products evenly. It's very rare for your factory to be set up that way. So you've got petroleum, light oil, and heavy oil, and you're going to be consuming them at different rates at different times in the factory depending on what you're building. And it can be, you can use cracking, right? Here I've got these 2 set to heavy oil cracking to light oil in a chemical plant. You can use chemical plants with cracking to help deal with that. Oh, it's getting a small biter attack there. But it can be difficult to know what ratio to use in terms of how many cracking plants you want for how many refineries. And if you don't want to do all that hard work of figuring all of that out, there's an easy solution, which is you build a ton of cracking capacity, and then you use a simple little switch, which I'm going to show you here, to regulate whether or not you're actually feeding any fuel to those. So here we've got a light oil storage tank coming off of our big long stack of refineries. So all my light oil is going to go into here. And I want to turn on light oil cracking into petroleum only when I've got an excess of light oil. So what I can do, look at this tank and see that its storage volume is 25,000 units. And I can use a wire to connect this electric pump up to this tank and set the enable condition to be light fuel greater than, we'll say, 20,000. Now this is as much as I ever build with circuit networks in this game. You can go crazy with circuit networks, but this is the most basic thing you could ever build out of it. And all that it means is this pump won't turn on until this tank has more than 20,000 units of oil in it. So until it's 4/5 of the way full. At that point, this pump will turn on. So if you build one of these and then have your stacks and stacks of light oil cracking into petroleum running off of it, you know that they're only going to activate because they're only going to get any light oil to run off of when you've got an excess of light oil. And that's going to do it, I think. Just some basic tips I wanted to share. Underground pipes are important. This kind of layout with using little stalks of above ground pipe coming off of inputs and outputs, and then using underground pipe to allow you to lay things in parallel. And this little trick with the pump and the circuit network.